Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for a live dairy tour. I'm your host, Callie Akabishin, and I have the privilege of working on behalf of dairy farmers in the Southeast. As a registered dietitian, I help teach people about delicious dairy and connect them with the amazing farmers who make it possible. Today, our team is at Stooksbury Dairy and Creamery in Jefferson City, Tennessee, with dairy farmer Brant Stooksbury. Brant is the second generation on the dairy farm, which his dad started in 1986. The land has been in the family for 4 generations total, though, and previously was a beef and vegetable farm. We are so excited for Brant to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how dairy cows are cared for, fed, and milked on his family's farm, along with a peek into their very own creamery, where milk is bottled right there on the farm. Joining Brant on Zoom today is a special guest, Ian Graber. Ian is a Field to Play 60 ambassador and winner of this year's Smoothie Blitz contest. He comes to us from Morgan County and began participating in the Field to Play 60 program 3 years ago in the 5th grade. Ian has worked to improve the lives and nutrition of his neighbors and peers. This summer, he worked every day serving meals at Morgan County schools and their mobile cafe, Bus the Gus. Every meal included milk, and in 2 months, Morgan County distributed over 50,000 pounds of nourishing milk to families in need. Thank you for all the hard work you've done supporting your community, Ian, and for joining us today. Before we get started, I want to be sure you know how to get your questions through to us on this live tour. If you're joining on Zoom, use the Q&A feature. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, put your questions in the chat or comment section. We will answer as many as we can, so please don't be shy. We want to hear from you. And with that said, let's turn it over to Brant on the farm. Where are we starting, Brant?
Yes, as she said, I'm Brant Stooksbury, and we'll go into the dairy parlor to start with, and we'll show you where some of the magic happens.
This must be a pretty important part of the farm, Brant. Is this where the cows start their day?
It is. It's where they start their day and where I start my day, and where most of the work happens.
I see. So tell us what we're looking at.
So yeah, in here is the dairy parlor, and on each side, 8 cows can fit. So I can milk a total of 16 cows. To start with, the cows will walk into their stall, and I'll get a foaming gun out, and I'll foam each teat, and that way it's clean and sanitary. Once I'm done with that, I'll take my wipes and I'll wipe them off and get them dry. Then I'll attach my milkers to the cows, and they'll be milking. As they're milking, it will tell me their number on my keypad, as well as how much milk they're giving, and other milk quality indicators that help us better maintain a healthy herd and keep everybody in check and make sure everybody's good to go. When they're done milking, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it sounds like there's a lot that goes into it, but keep going. When they're done milking, then what?
Yeah, once we get done milking, we take our dip cups and we dip each teat again with a sanitary solution, and that keeps any bacteria from growing and kills any bacteria that could potentially be on the teat and hurt the cow. But from there, milk flows through the pipeline down to the receiver. And in here is the receiver, and it'll pump from there into the next room where the tanks are, and that's where we'll be headed next.
Oh, wow. So in the milking parlor. Ian, was there any questions that you had as Brant was explaining the whole milking process?
Yeah.
How long does it usually take to milk a cow?
Typically, a cow takes 8 minutes to milk from the time she comes in to the time she gets to go out.
And how many times a day are you milking them, Brant?
I'm milking twice a day right now at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m.
Okay, so they're really working, less than 20 minutes a day?
Right, yeah, they're lucky. They only have to work a little while.
Okay, awesome. And you were kind of talking about the aftercare of the cows and how, you put that solution on them so it keeps their teats healthy. But in general, does milking hurt the cows?
No, in fact, they enjoy getting milk because they have pressure and that relieves their pressure and they can go and go back about their day and be a little more comfortable. But no, it does not hurt the cow. You don't want to do anything to cause discomfort. And it's the same with milking. You want it to be a pleasurable, comfortable experience.
Okay, it looks like we're in the parlor now. So tell us a little bit about, what are we looking at? I see a really big tank there.
Right. When we milk and it goes to that receiver, we fold this line down and it gets hooked onto the tank. And in the tank, it will get chilled and cooled down to whatever temperature you set it at. Right now, we're at 36, and it can be held there until it's time for processing.
Okay. And how, so you said the milk is chilled there. What else happens in the parlor room? Like, do you have to test the milk to make sure are you testing it for anything at that point?
Yes, every day or every pickup anyway, we pull samples of our raw milk and we test it to make sure that there are no antibiotics whatsoever. And you don't have to worry about that. And regularly, my state inspector comes and he'll pull raw samples as well and also pull finished product samples. And they test them for any type of bacteria, any type of chemical, and any type of antibiotic to make sure that it's 100% safe and there's nothing that shouldn't be in the milk.
Oh, interesting. So it sounds like there's a lot of oversight when it comes to the milk.
There is. It's a very heavily guarded commodity, I guess is what you'd say.
Okay. Well, that's really cool to get this insider look of what it's actually like to milk a dairy cow. Ian, was there anything that surprised you?
I had no clue one cow could produce so much milk. That's impressive. Speaking of other impressive things, while the farmer heads over to the next stop in our tour, we're going to get an insider look at how Crab Orchard Elementary School is involved with the Field to Play 60 program.
We're keeping it fresh this year with our new milk dispensers and our yogurt parfait bar. We planned several activities such as celebrating World School Milk Day, Cereal Milk Day, and our Festival of Movement. To start the year off fresh, our Fill Up to Play 60 wellness team planned a school-wide activity where we would walk to all the NFL stadiums.
We started in Crab Orchard, and then we saw the Tennessee Titans. These are all the NFL stadiums that we visited. We have now walked over 10,000 miles.
As the principal of Crab Orchard Elementary, our entire school is dedicated to physical activity and eating healthy to promote our daily living. At Crab Orchard Elementary, we celebrate milk every day.
Start my day fresh with a cold glass of milk. Crab Orchard stays fresh together with Fill Up to Play 60.
Fuel Up to Play 60 brings National Dairy Council, the NFL, and America's dairy farmers together to help schools and make a difference in communities. Through the program, students learn fueling their bodies with nutritious foods like dairy, fruits, and veggies throughout the day gives them energy they need to be at their very best. Now, let's get back to the farm and learn more about where it all starts on a dairy farm. Where are we now, Brant?
Where we raise them up, but like you can see, this one, she's real nice and she wanted to come out, so we decided we would feed her a bottle and show you how much milk they drink a day.
Oh, wow. Look at her go. So how much milk does she drink in a day?
We feed her a half gallon of milk twice a day and then as much water as she can drink, which right now typically is about a half gallon of water per feeding a day, so a gallon total.
Okay, I see a question that we're getting in. They're asking how many animals in total do you have on the farm? And so then my question follow up to that is how many calves do you have right now?
Right now, I have 4 milk calves that I'm feeding. And total on the farm, we're milking 46 cows. And we have 10 dry. So total, it would probably be around 65 cows and about 65 heifers on top of that.
Okay. And, I have to say, I'm looking at this cow. It's a brown cow. I normally think of a milking cow as a black and white cow. Can you tell us why your cows are brown and not black and white?
Yeah, this is a Holstein Jersey crossed calf, and a lot of times they have a brown complexion with no spots. And that way you get a little bit of the best of both worlds, because a Jersey naturally has more butter fat, while a Holstein typically has higher production. When you cross the two, you get a little bit of both.
Oh, wow. So I guess I didn't know that before I started working with dairy farmers, that each cow has different unique properties to their milk. That's really cool. I'm also wondering how much, we talked about how much a calf drinks each day, but how many calves does a cow have each year?
She will have 1 calf per year. They're just like humans, have the same gestation from the point of conception to having the calf. It is 9 months.
Okay. And walk us through, I see the calves in those little hutches there. Why is it so important for those calves to be separate? And can you tell us a little bit about what those first weeks of a calf's life are like?
Right. Well, first few weeks are critical, and you want to make sure they get everything to eat that they need, and that they're healthy and clean and dry. And that's part of what the hutches help with, is keeping them clean and dry. And they can't contact each other, because it's just like with children. You send them to school and one gets sick and everybody gets sick. So we try to keep them away from each other enough to where they can't spread germs and get different respiratory diseases.
Okay. And how long are they there for before they move on?
8 weeks. We keep them here for 8 weeks, and then we go to the next stage of life. Okay.
Interesting. Have you ever had twins on your farm, Brant?
Yes, we've had a bunch of twins before. That's it seems to happen more than you would ever think.
Oh, really? Like more than humans?
I don't know if it's any more than humans, but it seems like it. I'm not sure.
I bet that's a surprise to wake up to in the morning.
Yeah, it is.
Someone's got a question. They're wondering if the cows get to interact with one another when they're in the hutches, but it looks like they're kept pretty separate until, I'm guessing, after that 8 weeks.
Right, and they are close enough that they can see each other, and they do interact, just not necessarily touching. But yes, well, after the 8 weeks, we put them in a pen where everybody's together and they can do what they want to. And from there, if the weather's permitting, we turn them out on pasture, and they can either come in the barn or go out on pasture.
Okay. Oh, this is a good question. Someone's asking, how old are those baby calves right there?
This one was born September the 28th.
Okay. Do you have any younger ones, or is that the youngest one you have?
No, they get younger as you go up through there. There's 10, 24, and that last one it up here as long as the rest of them have been.
Got it. Interesting. Well, they are so cute. Oh my goodness. It's really cool to think that these calves are the future of dairy on your farm. And it makes sense why they're so well cared for. And you talking about how I think yesterday or Monday, we were talking about how they're kind of like kids. You keep them separate because they're so germy until they've got that immune system built up.
Right.
And looking at, I've seen big cows before, and then looking at those little cows, I bet they need a lot of food to grow so big. So it looks like their kitchen is where we're heading to next.
That's correct.
We're going to walk over. So what do you call their kitchen, Brant?
Over here is where we call their kitchen, and it is where we store the feed, part of the feed that we mix into our mix wagon and put out every day.
Okay, so what kind of things are in there?
Yeah, I've got a little pile of every ingredient sitting here. And first, the bulk of our mix is corn silage. And this is a non-GMO corn silage that we've grown on farm. And it's the for somebody that doesn't know, silage is just the whole plant that's chopped up really finely, and then you pack it in a silo and it ferments and makes a good feed for cattle. The second pile is barley silage, and it adds a lot of fiber and a little protein to the mix, and that's also non-GMO that we've grown on the farm. And it's just another good ingredient that cattle like, makes it palatable. And then here we have our grain mix that comes from Purina, and it's got corn, soybean meal, cottonseed, which interestingly enough is just a byproduct of cotton. It's something cows can use that humans can't, and they can turn it into milk that we can use, and all the minerals that they need in here as well. And right now we're also feeding a few whole soybeans, and that was also grown on the farm. And it's just another way of getting a little protein and making the feed a little bit more palatable for the cattle.
Oh, cool. So on top of raising your cows and milking them, you're also having to grow some of the food that you give them.
Yeah, quite a bit of it. Quite a bit.
Yeah. And you were talking about those cotton seeds. So you're saying like the t-shirt that you're wearing, the leftover product from making that t-shirt, the cows can actually use that?
That's right. They can take cottonseed, which is pretty much useless to humans, and they can turn it into milk that is a high quality product, very nutritious.
Oh, cool. Now I see there's a lot of foods that those cows eat. Are you the one that makes all the decisions about how to feed them?
Not by myself. We also have a nutritionist for our herd, and they help us keep our cattle in peak performance and make a diet that helps them meet that criteria to get them to do the optimum amount of work that they need to do and are as comfortable as possible in the going along with it.
Interesting. So cows have their dietitians just like humans. Like I'm a dietitian for humans. I could have been a cow dietitian.
That's exactly what it is. It's a nutritionist is a dietitian.
Got it. Okay. And tell us a little bit about how much they eat.
Yeah, right now, when we mix all this up in a day's time, they'll get about 114 pounds. And a large portion of that is water because the silages are wet. But still, it's like 47 pounds of dry matter. So it's a lot of food.
Oh, okay. That is a lot of food. And outside of what you're feeding here, someone's asking, when the cows grow up, do they eat any grass? Do your cows eat any grass?
They do. Right now, I try to feed 50% of my diet at least out grazing and off grass. I plant different perennial or annual grasses depending on what time of year it is. So they have something good and green and natural to go eat, and they're free to do that during the day or come in and they can eat the mix that we have out for them.
Oh, okay. And what about, you're talking about the all the things that they're eating. There's a lot of foods that they eat that we can't eat, like the corn silage and things like that. One thing we didn't talk about is how much water does a cow drink, and where do you get that water from for them?
Right. A cow can drink between 30 and 50 gallons of water a day, and that is dependent on how hot it is outside. And really, it can exceed 50 gallons a day, which, to put that into perspective, 50 gallons is roughly 430 pounds. So it's a lot of water. We have a well that is on the farm, and it's the one that fills our house as well, and they get water out of the same well as we do.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, it's really amazing, especially as a registered dietitian, to see all the food that cows eat that humans cannot, that then gets turned into a nutritious milk. So, farmers know how important a healthy diet is to keep their cows healthy. And that's why they have those cow nutritionists or cow dietitians, as I call them, to help them, And speaking of nutrition, we want to hear from you when it comes to nutrition. So since we have Ian, the Smoothie Ambassador here, we want to know what's your favorite smoothie flavor. So Ian, can you tell us a little bit about these smoothie flavor choices?
We know smoothies are a big hit, and one way to stay fresh during the holiday season is to try new flavors. We thought you'd ask you which fun holiday flavor you want to try at your school. Pumpkin spice is everywhere. This one is like pumpkin pie in a smoothie glass. The Grinch gets its green color from spinach, but also has apples, lemon juice, and ginger. The peppermint will really zing your taste buds with vanilla and peppermint. So tell us which one you want your school to try by voting in the Zoom poll or just typing it into the comments if you're joining us from Facebook or YouTube.
And while we wait for answers to come in, I just want to share that smoothies made with real milk and yogurt are such an easy way to incorporate so many healthy choices, including fruits and vegetables into your diet. And we can thank farmers like Brant and his cows for making nutritious milk to add to our smoothies. I personally love that these festive holiday smoothies show that smoothies can be enjoyed any time of year, not just during those hot summer months. They can really be a great way to savor the delicious flavors that make holiday season feel so special, while also nourishing our body with nutrients that support our wellness. With 13 essential nutrients in one cup, you can think of it as nature's own wellness drink and the perfect base for a nutritious smoothie. So if we could get some results for that.
It looks like everyone seems to prefer the Grinch smoothie. Personally, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them, though.
I agree. Next up, we're going to leave the cow kitchen and actually head over to the cow dinner table where cows enjoy all their delicious food. So where are we now, Brant?
That the cows have. This is where we run their feed out twice a day, which is the corn silage and the grain and the barley silage and the soybeans all mixed up. And here they have access to this 24 hours a day, and it never runs out because we make sure and fill it back up if it gets close.
Okay, and someone's asking, and this is a good time to answer this question, how long does it take for you to feed all of the calves? Or actually, this was for the cows, but we can answer that question, but how long does it take for you to feed your cows here?
The big cows, we can load the feed and get it fed out within an hour. And really, it's probably closer to about 45 minutes.
Okay. And what about the baby calves?
The baby calves, well, we have a cow that we milk specifically for them. And when we get done with each milking, we'll come out and feed them. And that doesn't take long. It takes about 20 minutes.
Okay. So I see all the cows eating there. Do any of the cows have a favorite food? Like, do they have certain foods that they prefer more than others?
Certain cows like to eat up here at the buffet table all day, and certain ones would rather go outside and eat on the grass. And it is different for every cow. Some of them like the grass better, and some of them like the grain and the silage better. They're just like humans. They're partial to different things.
Interesting. Okay. And how do you know, since they have this like open buffet pretty much all day long, how do you know that they're getting enough to eat?
Well, as long as you have 2 to 5% left at the end of the day or before your next feeding, you know that they still have food that they're available to eat, but it's not so much that it will spoil. So you kind of keep an eye on that to make sure you're within those parameters. But yet we always want there to be a little feed left so that they're never going hungry.
That makes sense. Because I think I've heard other dairy farmers talk about this idea that dairy cows are like a marathon athlete. Can you talk a little bit about that idea?
Right. Yeah. Dairy cows are the athlete in the cow community because they are working hard to produce a product from just raw materials. And that's why they need to eat so much and get those calories because they're constantly working, even though it looks like they're just eating and laying down.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're working hard, but they are working hard.
Right.
Someone wants to know, does what they eat affect their milk flavor?
It does, because that's one reason I feed 50% of their diet of my silage and my grain mix, and it stays constant year round. And that is so when you switch from different grasses that it does not change the flavor of the milk really drastically, because you can move from an annual rye to an alfalfa patch and it does change the flavor of the milk.
Okay. Do you ever do a taste test on the milk can you tell like during different seasons, the different tastes of the milk?
We can tell it every time we pasteurize milk. When we get done, we taste test it to make sure everything is kosher and good. And we can tell the difference running from one pasture to the next. Okay.
And then I think we're going to move along into the barn. It's so cool to learn about the cows' very own dinner table and how important their diet is to their health. it makes sense again that they have this really perfect diet set out to them by the farmer. But we're moving into the barn. Is this where the cows hang out when they're not being milked, Brant? And what do they do when they're in here?
It is, and in here they have the freedom to rest, or they can drink, or they can eat, or they can go out to the pasture. We have them up right now just so you all can see all of them, but this is where they hang out. We've also got a brush here. My pet's coming up to say hi. Sorry. But they have a brush they can come up and push, and it'll scratch them and kind of give them a little bit of a massage as the day goes on if they want it. And yeah, that's just the place to be, is out here.
Okay, so who's that there?
This is Linda. And she's not the best producing cow, but she's always been really nice and been a sweetheart. So she's the farm pet. She's the one we love. Well, one of the ones we love, not the only one. I better not make them jealous.
I was going to ask if you had a favorite, but you might want to say that with everyone around.
Right, yeah, I don't want the rest of them to get mad at me.
And I see Linda she's black and white, not like the calves.
Right, she is a Holstein, so she does have the black and white complexion on her.
And how much does a cow like Linda weigh?
Linda probably weighs 1,300 or 1,400 pounds.
Okay.
And they can get bigger. Holsteins can sometimes get up to 1,600, 1,700, but I tend to have a little bit smaller ones.
Okay. And who's the oldest cow on your farm? Or how long do cows normally live for?
Well, that can vary. We've milked cows that were 16 years old before. They can get pretty old as long as you care for them and do a good job. Linda, she's getting up there. She's not 16 by any means, but she's probably 8 years old, which is an older cow.
Okay. And so I see the cows hanging out. Do they also lay down and sleep in there? Like, where do they have to lay down in the barn?
Yeah, they come over here, and you can see some of them laying down. I have a Jersey laying backwards right now. She just got up. but we have lime and shavings mixed for them to lay in, and it just provides a good, clean, dry place that gives some cushion. And each one of them has their own stall if they want it. And yeah, they're available to lay in them anytime they want.
Okay. And in terms of, I don't think cows are able to be potty trained. How do you keep that area clean for them?
Right. Yeah. Twice a day we bring out it's a big rubber tire, like would be on a really big tractor or something. And it's made to go on the front of a skid loader, and we push the manure out to the manure holding pond. And from there, later, we'll spread it out on our fields and use it as fertilizer, which is really a valuable resource that we have.
Interesting. So in addition to the feed, you're also recycling other things on the farm, like the manure and using that to help grow your crops. Okay. And what about, do the cows have like certain friends? Do they all get along in there? Like, what's that like?
Well, some of them you will see hang out in kind of pairs or so, and some of them don't want to be around any of the other cows. They're kind of like people. You do have those introverts that want to hang by themselves. But for the most part, everybody gets along. They don't really bother each other. And
okay.
It's just a good little family to be a part of.
Yeah. And is there any other way that you can tell that the cows are comfortable? Like, is there any other way to kind of keep track of them when you're not in the barn with them?
Right. We have collars on the cows, and every day it will read how many steps they have taken or how long they've laid down. And if their steps are declining, along with the milk weight, if you watch that in the parlor, it loads it to a computer and it'll tell you to look at that cow. She could potentially be getting sick, and you need to make sure that everything is good to go before it gets so bad that you can't fix it.
Oh, interesting. That information tells you whether they're feeling well or not. That's really cool. Someone's asking in the chat box, which I think is a cool question to talk about before we move on, is, what do you do when it's really cold, and how do you keep the cows warm? Maybe you can talk a little bit about how the weather affects the cow.
Right. And one good thing about cows is they like it cold. They like it colder than humans do by far. But when it gets cold and it's really wet and rainy, we have to stop letting them go outside. We'll put extra shavings down in the bedding, for them to lay in and get warm. But for the most part in East Tennessee, it never gets so cold that they can't stand it here in the barn.
Got it. Okay. It seems like these cows really haven't made with these clean, comfy beds and fans and their own personal massage brushes. I really love learning how the barn is kept clean and how the cow's comfort is just such a priority for farmers. But again, I keep saying this, it makes sense. Without happy, healthy cows, there is no milk. So prioritizing cow health and optimizing their milk production is actually one of the ways that farmers help to take care of the environment. Sustainability is very important to dairy farmers. And you might not know, but U.S. Dairy has set a goal to become carbon neutral or better by 2050. While Brant heads over to our last stop at the Creamery, Ian is going to tell you a little bit about his smoothie that made him the Smoothie Ambassador of 2021 in a short video.
Thanks, Callie. My chocolate peanut butter smoothie made with peanut butter, banana, low-fat Greek yogurt, and chocolate milk was what won me the Fuel to Play 60 Smoothie Blitz contest. But it wasn't just the ingredients that impressed the judges. My unique twist was creating a blenderless smoothie and using a plastic bag to mix up all the ingredients. Check out this video of me making my smoothie with NFL star Nate Burleson.
Hey, what's up? This is Nate Burleson, and right now, I am excited to introduce the Smoothie Blitz Ambassador, Ian. What's up, baby? How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm good. You are the Smoothie Blitz contest winner, and you're also the plastic bag guy. Why is that?
Because where I live, not everyone has a blender, so we thought of a creative way that you could use a plastic bag. So
That's smart. So, can you show me how to make your smoothie?
yes, I can. First, you're gonna get your frozen bananas.
It's one whole banana, right?
Yep. And then peanut butter.
Okay.
And then you're gonna get your Greek yogurt.
Half a cup. I'm gonna add that on in.
And then you're gonna get, of course, your chocolate milk.
The milk is like the MVP of the smoothie. I mean, without the milk, smoothie ain't really a smoothie. All right, so we got everything in.
You ready?
Is it time to taste it?
Yep.
This is the banana chocolate milk peanut butter smoothie. Here we go. Ding! Oh man, that's delicious. Thanks again for telling me how to make
Wait. What?
What?
I got a little surprise for you. Look to your side.
Oh! You got me some plastic bags?
Yep, you can try it now.
So just in case I don't have a blender or my blender's dirty, I can use one of these. You know what? I'm gonna make it rain just for you. My guy Ian in the house.
Wow, Ian, I am really impressed. What a cool idea to make nutritious smoothies more accessible. It looks like we made it to our last stop on the tour. Brant, can you tell us where the milk goes before it makes it to our fridge?
Yeah, here we are in the Creamery, and this is my pasteurizer. It'll hold 500 gallons, and this is the first stop it makes in the Creamery. The pasteurizer has walls in it that circulate water, but never touch the milk. And I can heat that water up, and it'll heat the milk to 145, and I hold it there for 30 minutes. From there, it goes through my pump, through my chiller, which automatically sends it to 38 degrees, and it goes through my pipeline, where I can either send it to the holding tanks in the back or directly to bottling. Most of the time, I go directly to bottling, and from there, it comes off the other side of the conveyor, and it goes into the cooler for delivery or for sale here on the farm.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of equipment. So on top of being a dairy farmer, you have to manage and learn how to use all this equipment. I'm like very impressed.
It's been a learning curve for sure.
I bet. So one question, I'm going to be honest, this is my question. How does the milk get from the parlor to your creamery?
I have a 1962 straight truck tank that people used to haul milk with, and I found it in Greenville, and I mounted it on a trailer, and I have to haul my milk from the creamery from the dairy to the creamery. Soon I'll have a pipeline up to where I can just pump it through my own pipeline.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. So this is a good question for this part of the tour. Someone's asking, how do you make chocolate milk? And I have insider knowledge. I know you make chocolate milk. So how do you do it?
Well, I get my milk and I heat it up just a little bit to about 80 degrees. And then I add in my sugar and I buy cocoa powder that's prepackaged. And it tells you how many pounds to put for how many gallons of milk. And I put it in there and then I heat my milk up just like you would pasteurizing. And it gets everything mixed in well. And then from there, it's just the same as the whole milk. You just cool it back down and bottle it.
Okay. Okay. So do you make anything? Does your milk get made into anything else, or is it just milk?
Right now, it's just milk, just whole milk. I don't add anything into it, and I don't take anything out of it from the way the cow has made it. It's all natural.
Okay. Okay. And what about, where can someone get your milk? Like, does your milk go to a store from here, or do you sell it straight from your farm?
Every Saturday from 9 to 2, I sell it here in my little retail area. And also, I have 14 stores or so that I send milk to, and they can be found on Facebook if you look up Stooksbury Dairy Creamery, or on our website, which is stooksburycreamery.com.
Okay. Okay. So just your good old, natural milk that we're all drinking. That's awesome. How often are you bottling your milk?
I bottle milk 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Fridays.
Tuesdays and Fridays. Okay. Okay. And then last question kind of in this section is, how, with all that equipment, how do you make sure that it all stays clean?
Right. Every time we pasteurize or bottle milk, we go through a vigorous cleaning cycle of cleaning the inside of the equipment and the outside. I have an automated system to clean the pipelines and the pasteurizer, but we always double check and make sure that everything functioned properly.
Got it. Okay. And I think we didn't touch on this, but the pasteurization is really just a way to make sure that your milk doesn't have any sort of things in it that aren't supposed to be in it. So it just makes it safer for us all to drink. And it's a great invention. This has been such a good learning experience. I really, really appreciate you taking time to explain why you do the things you do, Farmer Brant. We have a few minutes left, and I wanted to use this time to ask a few more questions about Brant and Ian. So I'm going to start with Ian. Ian, what was the most surprising thing you learned at the farm today?
Honestly, I think the most surprising thing I learned at the farm today was how much work it takes to take care of these dairy cows, and how much time and it puts forward to make a good product, which is milk.
Yeah, I think that was definitely something that was really just eye-opening to me when I went to my first dairy farm. And then Farmer Brant, I always love to give farmers the opportunity to answer this question. What is something that you wish everyone knew about being a dairy farmer?
Well, the biggest thing about being a dairy farmer, and this is universal, is that if you don't take care of your cows, they won't take care of you. And that's a tried and true rule. People think that you don't necessarily love your cows or take care of them, and that's false. We do. And if you don't take care of them, they're not going to do well and be the athlete that you need them to be so you can make a living from your milk.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Ian, we got a question from our audience. What has been your favorite part about being involved with Fuel Up to Play 60?
I just love everything in general. It's a very good program to be in. And if you're not joined already, then I recommend you join today. It's very fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I've really enjoyed learning about Fuel to Play 60 as well. It sounds like there's lots of really fun activities. So, last question for both of you. Ian, I'll start with you. What's your favorite dairy food?
I got to go with milk. Milk is awesome.
Milk. And you, Farmer Brant?
I'm boring. It's just plain whole milk. That's the way I like it.
Got it. Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with being just straightforward, plain milk. It's a nutritious thing. So that's awesome. This has been, really interesting, really enjoyable, but the time has come to wrap it up. Thank you, viewers, for your questions. We hope you enjoyed today's tour as much as we did. I also want to extend a huge thanks to Brant and his family for giving us this behind the scenes look at their dairy farm today. The work you do is just incredible. And we all learned so much. It's such a privilege to be able to get this insider look at what it's really like to be a dairy farmer. And to Ian, thank you for sharing your time with us today and giving us a glimpse into Field to Play 60 and helping me host. Now, don't forget, the Dairy Alliance is your resource for all things dairy. Visit our website for the latest dairy research, recipes, and news. You can even meet more of our incredible dairy farm families across the Southeast and attend more virtual farm tours because not all farms are the same. Go to thedairyalliance.com and please take advantage of the resources brought to you by the generosity of our hardworking dairy farm families. Thank you again for joining us. We wish you a dairy good day. That's all for now.